What is up, party people? Welcome back to my channel. I'm Jamila. This is JemilaBeReadin because I do be reading, and today I am going to show you everything that I bought this year thus far because I've not done a haul at all this year. As you can imagine, I have quite a few books to show y'all, and to be quite honest, I don't remember which books I bought like late last year and which books necessarily were from this year, so it's kind of all up in the air. I'm pretty sure most of these books are from this year, but it is what it is. Anyways, let's get into it. I'm going to split it into different genres, kind of, so that way if you just want to see some fantasy books, if you just want to see some nonfiction, whatever, you can do that, or just watch the whole thing. That's also great too. I'd appreciate that. But let's get into it. Okay. So, I subscribe to Book of the Month, and every month I'm like, I'm just gonna get the one book or skip, if I'm not feeling anything. But inevitably, I end up getting more than one book most of the time during the month, which is kind of a problem for my bank account. But anyways, I'm just gonna go ahead and just talk about the Book of the Month books first and then get into it because I have quite a few here. Okay, first up here I have The Kinda Sly by Nancy Johnson. I think this is supposed to be like a literary novel. What I know is that it's set in 2008. There's stuff between black and white communities, family secrets, kind of hidden deep secrets. I don't know. To be quite honest, I don't know all too much about this, but I've heard a lot of great things about it. So when I saw that it was available on Book of the Month, I ended up picking it up, and at some point in time I will get to this. When that will be, who knows. Next up I have Black Buck by Matteo Ascaripour. I read this actually, and I have a review while I baked some matcha mochi muffins if you want to go ahead and check that out and hear my thoughts about this book. But this is another like kind of literary satire novel. This follows our main character Darren, who is in his early 20s. He was working at Starbucks as like a shift manager, and he ends up getting an unexpected opportunity with a growing startup. Things really get wild. He is faced with a lot of racism and discrimination. He is the only person of color, let alone the only black person there. And it's a really wild story. I don't want to give too much away. I think you should definitely go check this one out, especially if you're into kind of like, I don't know. This book says for fans of Sorry to Bother You and Wolf of Wall Street. I've never seen Wolf of Wall Street, and I never will. But this does kind of give me Sorry to Bother You vibes. So if you like that movie, I would definitely recommend checking this one out. Next, I have The Dating Plan by Sarah Desai. This is a contemporary romance that is kind of like a second chance romance mixed with like a fake dating, fake fiance, and a hint of enemies to lovers, except one-sided enemies to lovers. This follows Daisy, who's a software engineer. She has very close with her family. She has a really large family, and they are all pressuring her to get married. She is, getting close to her 30s, and she's still not married yet, and she just doesn't really care about marriage. And Liam is a venture capitalist. His grandfather passes away, and one of the contingencies in the inheritance for Liam is that he has to get married before his next birthday or something like that. Liam also was Daisy's older brother's best friend when they were in high school, and so she always had a crush on him. There was like a being spurned kind of situation that happened when they were younger, and so now she kind of hates him. But they come up with this fake fiance situation so that she can get her family off her back and that he can get his inheritance. And things ensue. I actually did read this one. I won't tell you my thoughts because I actually just recently read it, so you'll have to wait for my May wrap-up. But I did really enjoy it. Next up, I have the final revival of Opal and Nev by Donnie Walton. This is... I've heard a lot of people compare this to Daisy Jones and the Six. Oh my gosh. I've never read that one, but this is another deep dive into a fake rock and roll band. It takes place in the 70s. Opal is a young black woman and she wants to be a punk artist. She does a lot of like activism and gets signed and all of this stuff. I don't know much about this one, but I am really interested in reading this. It seems like it'll be fun. I feel like it kind of matches my vibe right now. I'm like kind of a rock and roll gal right now. I don't know. I'm playing. But am I? Okay, next up I have Honey Girl by Morgan Rogers. This is another like contemporary romance, kind of somewhat of a coming of age, mid-20s kind of story. We have Grace, who is, I think she's like astronomy. Yeah, she has her PhD in astronomy. She's a super high achiever, but one day she goes to Vegas and accidentally kind of gets married to this other girl. And so it's kind of their love story, but also like a coming of age story for Grace. So again, heard nothing but great things about this one, and I still haven't read it yet. But soon, hopefully someday. And then I have Love in Color, Mythical Tales from Around the World Retold by Bolu Babalola. I thought this came out last year. I swear this came out last year, but I think I just, again, got confused by people and their arcs. But I could have sworn that it came out last year. I don't know what happened. But this came out this year. And I was super excited. I've actually been following Bolu on Twitter for a very long time, so it was really random when she was like, I have a book coming out. And I was like, oh, wow, amazing. And again, book of the month. So I picked this up. I think this is just different retellings of different like mythologies from around the world. From Ghana, we have Greek mythology, some various Middle Eastern mythology. And so sounds like a good time. I love mythological retellings. So I'm excited for this one. Then I have Arsenic and Adobo by Mia P. Meninsala. This is a comedic mystery. Our main character, Leela, she is tasked with saving her family's restaurant, and then there's this nasty food critic who comes and then drops dead. So she's like trying to cover for her family, trying to figure out what's going on with this guy, how did he die, all of this stuff. So it's like a murder mystery, but I think supposed to be comedic. So I'm excited. You know what? I'm getting more into the thriller mystery genre, and I love to see the diverse ones. So I'm here for it. And finally, the last of my book of the month books is Liberty by Caitlin Greenidge. This is, I think, a historical fiction. Coming of age as a freeborn black girl in Reconstruction era Brooklyn, Liberty Sampson is all too aware that her purposeful mother, a practicing physician, has a vision for her future together. Liberty is to go to medical school and practice alongside her, but Liberty is more interested in music and is feeling stifled. So kind of a classic modern vibes too, but in the Reconstruction era Brooklyn. There is some conversation, it seems like, about passing. Her mother is very light-skinned and she can pass, but Liberty cannot, so that's constantly a thing being thrown at her. There seems to be a romance from a man who comes from Haiti. Anyways, I just thought it sounded good. Also, I think this cover is, like, stunning. Even the back has, like, these butterflies and stuff, so love to see it. Okay, now that that's over with, the next genre, I guess that was a mix of genres, but now I'm going to go into the kind of fantasy, both YA and adult that I have. I don't actually have that much, which is kind of surprising, but it is what it is. So most recently, actually, last week, I went to Seattle with a friend and we went to Capital Bay Book Company or something like that. It's like a pretty big bookstore in Seattle. And I picked up The Beautiful Ones by Sylvia Moreno Garcia. I read Mexican Gothic earlier this year, back in January, and I really enjoyed it, and I really want to read more of Moreno Garcia's work. So I picked this one up. Nina, she wants to be a part of her town's notable socialites. She's about to debut. It goes wrong mainly because she has issues controlling her telekinesis. And another man shows up, Hector. He also has telekinetic powers. There is romance, but also some thrilling stuff. Anyway, I just really like the cover. I mean, what can I say? I am a cover buyer, but also I trust Sylvia Moreno Garcia, so I'm probably gonna like this, but let's just appreciate this beautiful cover, okay? let's move on now. Next up, again in Seattle, I was at a used bookshop that was like downstairs at Pike's Place Market, and I saw like a really good deal. This was $5. I think this is the UK edition of A Darker Shade of Magic by V. Schwab. I read the trilogy. I really enjoyed it, and I want to have my own copies. So I guess now I need to get the other two in the UK edition since I have this one. But yeah, I don't know what to say. This is like magic. I'm sure you all know about this series. It's extremely popular on BookTube. Yeah. Next up, from Powell's, actually, I got Master of Poisons by Andrea Hurston. I haven't heard too many people talk about this book on Bookstagram. I feel like I heard Jessie from Bow Ties and Books talk about this one, and I think that's maybe what got this book on my radar. But I saw it again. It was like a really good used edition of this book. And this says that it's weaving together African folktales and post-colonial literature into an unforgettable fantasy. So we have Jola, who is the right-hand man and spy master of the Lord of the Archesian Empire, and he is trying to desperately save his adopted homeland, even though he's in exile. And we have Awa, who is a young woman training to be a powerful griot, to test the limits of her knowledge, and comes into her own in a world of sorcery, floating cities, kindly beasts, and uncertain men. So, sounds really good. I haven't really heard much about this, so I don't know. Who knows if it's good, but I feel like it's gonna be good. Also, again, beautiful cover. All right. Next up, I have Winterkeep by Kristen Cashore. The Gracing Realm series is one of my all-time favorite YA fantasy series books. I love to see it. And obviously, I was very excited to find out that Kristen Cashore was writing a fourth book in this series. I'm like a little bit hesitant. I'm like, it's been a while. I hope this is good, but I trust her. But this is the newest installment. I think this is still following Bitter Blue and Gideon, and I think there's another new character named Lovisa in the Kingdom of Winterkeep, which is, I think, new to this world. So, again, stunning cover. I really love the new redesign. Love it. And finally, of the kind of fantasy-ish stories, I have King of Scars by Leigh Bardugo. This is the first book in the King of Scars duology. I don't know what the duology is called, but this is the one following Nikolai, who is a character from the Shadow and Bone trilogy. I have all the books, so I was like, oh, I'll just buy this. I'm going to read it. You know, like, I want to read it. I was, like, debating on whether or not I wanted to buy this book, but I already own the series. Might as well keep going. I'll wait until the next book comes out in paperback, and I'll buy that too. But anyways, if y'all think this is good, let me know, because I seen a lot of people like posting about this, but not saying like what they thought about it. So I don't actually know what the general consensus is about this. But we have Nikolai and Zoya. Zoya's getting brought up to protagonist level, and Nina. Wow, love to see it. Love to see it. Okay, moving on to my largest category, I think here. This is kind of like contemporary / literary fiction. I'll start with the only YA book I think that I have in this section, but I have The Firekeepers Daughter by Angeline Booley. I think this is a mystery book. So we have 18-year-old Donis Fontaine, who is a part of the Ojibwe tribe. She's a witness to a shocking murder, and so she is asked to go undercover by the FBI. I guess she's 18, but it seems kind of young, right? To be asked to go undercover by the FBI. So she goes undercover to, like, figure out about this new, like, lethal drug that's emerged and all of that stuff. So again, I don't know like a ton about this book, but I've heard that a lot of people liked it. And again, the cover, say it with me now, the cover, stunning. And I guess it's also Reese's YA book club pick, which is great, fantastic. Okay, next up I have Dial A for Aunties by Jessie Q Sutanto, and I feel like this has been making its round on Bookstagram. I don't know if it is on BookTube, but this is another like comedic murder mystery. Throw in a dash of romance. I'll just read to you this like little top portion. What happens when you mix one accidental murder with 2,000 wedding guests and then toss in a possible curse on 3 generations of immigrant Chinese Indonesian family? You get 4 meddling Asian aunties coming to the rescue. Like, you know what I'm saying? It sounds really good, doesn't it? I actually started this one a little bit ago, and I took a break. Not because I wasn't enjoying it, but I just like was in a really weird reading mood. I was like literally in the middle of like 7 different books and I couldn't figure out what I wanted to read, but I was really enjoying it so far and it made me laugh out loud. So, okay. Next up, I have The Mothers by Britt Bennett. Ignore this weird, I didn't even notice this when I bought it. I don't know if there was a sticker there that I accidentally ripped off or it was already like this. I bought this used. I just wasn't paying attention. But, you know, I read The Vanishing Half earlier again this year, enjoyed it for the most part, so I figure I should try The Mothers by Britt Bennett. I think this is, again, I don't really know what this is about, but I think it's more like family secrets, family drama type of story, and I love those kinds of stories. I mean, Celeste Ng, my queen, so I'm hoping I'm going to enjoy this more than I did The Vanishing Half. It seems like a lot of people like this one, so I'm feeling positive towards it. So next up, I have Nothing to See Here by Kevin Wilson. I actually just found this at Goodwill like a few days ago, and I was like, how perfect. I was really wanting to get my own copy because I read it from the library initially, and if you watched my April wrap up, you'll know that I like gave this 5 stars and I loved it. So I wanted to have my own copy. But, you know, I was looking at different bookstores and I was like, I should just wait. Maybe I'll find a used copy somewhere. And I did. I'm glad I waited because I paid $3 for this. And it's a really good condition hardcover. So, excellent. The only thing is I hate this Read with Jenna sticker that's not removable. But I already talked about what this is about. But basically we have Lillian, who is called by her old childhood friend Madeline to come and watch her 2 stepchildren who happen to spontaneously combust when they're feeling heightened emotions. So she bonds with them, all this stuff. It's really good. I really liked it. You should read it. Man, I really bought a lot of books this year. But anyways, next I have Free Food for Millionaires by Min-Jin Lee. Y'all know Pachinko was one of my favorite reads of 2020, so of course I wanted to read her debut novel. And this one, again, found a used copy, so I decided to pick this up. Although, you know, I don't know that I like this cover all that much. And I've seen better covers, ones that kind of match with like the size and style of Pachinko. Like this is like giant, you know what I'm saying? It was used. I got it for $8, so I'm here to be a cheapo, you know? So I have this, and this is, I think, another family drama. Are you seeing a trend? Casey Hahn's first year at Princeton has given her a refined diction, enviable golf handicap, and a popular white boyfriend, and a degree in economics, but no job and a number of bad habits. The elder daughter of the working class Korean immigrants, Casey inhabits a New York world far away from her parents. As Casey navigates an uneven course of small triumphs and spectacular failures, clash of values, ideals, and ambitions plays out against the colorful backdrop of New York society and its many layers, shades, and divides. So, sounds like a lot of fun, you know? I'm here for it. Next up, I have Gold Diggers by Sanjana Sathian. This is actually the May pick for my Pros Before Bros book club, which we're having our meeting soon, so I should probably start this. I just got it in the mail, like, last night. So, this one is, again, another family drama. This is spanning 2 continents, 2 coasts, 4 epics, expertly balancing social satire and magical realism, and a classic striver story that skewers the model minority narrative, asking what a community must do to achieve the American dream. I heard this is supposed to be like a funny but like scathing critique on like the American dream and American meritocracy. So I'm excited. Celeste Ng says it's dizzyingly original, fiercely funny, and deeply wise. So I'm probably gonna like this, hopefully. You'll find out, I guess, in my May wrap-up. All right. Then I have Patsy by Nicole Dennis Benn. This is, again, another used copy that I found. This is supposed to be a beautifully layered portrait of motherhood, immigration, and the sacrifices we make in the name of love from award-winning novelist Nicole Dennis Benn. Patsy gets her long-coveted visa to America after years of yearning to leave Pennifield, the beautiful but impoverished Jamaican town where she was raised. More than anything, she wishes to be reunited with her cherished friend Cicely, whose letters arrive from New York steeped in the promise of a happier life and the possibility of rekindling their young love. But Patsy's plans don't include her overzealous evangelical mother or even her 5-year-old daughter, True. So she goes off by herself and leaves her child and mother behind, and I think it's just following her story and what that all means and stuff like that. So I've heard a lot of great things about this, particularly on Bookstagram, so here we are. Next up, I have Migrations. This one, again, I was able to get in Seattle at the Elliott Bay Book Company, and this was actually like a discounted price, so I only got it for $8. Again, this is one that I haven't heard like a ton of. I've seen some pictures here and there on Bookstagram, but I haven't really heard like people like reviewing or talking about this one. I think this one is supposed to follow our main character, Franny, who is, I think she's a scientist, and she goes to remote Greenland to find the world's last flock of Arctic terns and track their final migration. She convinces the captain of the boat that she's on to take her, and she goes with this crew. Franny has to deal with her dark history and all of this stuff and blah blah blah. So it seems interesting. Again, something about this cover is just like it's like a quiet beauty, you know? I don't know what I'm doing right now. I'm like reviewing book covers, but I really like this one. So, again, I think this might be one that I might read soon because it's kind of calling to me. So, and finally, in my literary contemporary genre, I have The Shadow King by Maza Mengiste. This one, again, I was able to find a used copy, $10 for this beautiful hardback. But this is supposed to be looking at the Mussolini 1935 invasion of Ethiopia, following these different women who are impacted by the war and all of that stuff. So, yeah. Again, stunning cover. Stunning cover. Okay, I only have 2 more like genres left, and I don't have that many books. So next, I'm going to do nonfiction. I have I Know Why the Caged Bird Sings by Maya Angelou. This is her memoir, story about her life. I don't think this needs anything more for me to say. It's Maya Angelou. Then I have Are Prisons Obsolete by Angela Davis. As you can see, I'm currently reading this one. I've been reading this one for a while. It's been like, I'll pick it up and read a chapter and then put it down and not come back to it for like weeks. But this is just looking at America's prison system, the prison industrial complex, looking at whether or not prisons or just policing in general is necessary. They're not. But, yeah. Then I have Minor Feelings, An Asian American Reckoning by Kathy Park Hong. I talked a little bit about this in my May TBR. I don't know that I'm going to finish this by May, but I do want to start this one soon. But this is just looking at Kathy Park Hong's life. It's like part memoir, part cultural criticism, as it says on the back here, that traces Hong's relationship to the English language, to depression, to poetry, and female friendship. So there's that. Then again, another purchase from when I was in Seattle, I have We Do This Till We Free Us by Mariam Kaba, Abolitionist, Organizing, and Transforming Justice. So the back of this says, what if social transformation and liberation are not about waiting for someone else to come along and save us? What if ordinary people have the power to collectively free ourselves? In this timely collection of essays and interviews, Mariam Kaba reflects on the deep work of abolition and transformative political struggle. Heard a lot of great things about this, again, particularly on Bookstagram. I'm really excited to get to this one. And finally, I have The Body Is Not an Apology, The Power of Radical Self-Love by Sonia Renee Taylor. This is the first edition. I know that the second edition recently came out that's been updated, and it's kind of hard to find this, but this was our January Pros Before Bros pick, and so I bought this before the second edition came out, but case you're wondering and you want to buy it, the cover does look a little bit different now. But this is just a book it's kind of like a self-help book, but, you know, looking at radical self-love and how different systems of oppression affects our ability to make peace and all that stuff. So I read most of this and I kind of have mixed feelings about it. Like, I don't think any of this was bad. Like, I think I just, like, kind of knew some of this information already. But I think this can be really great for a lot of people. And it seemed like a lot of people in my book club really enjoyed this and found it to be very impactful. So I would still check this out. And finally, I just have 2 more books left in my romance genre. I have Actor Age Eve Brown by Talia Hibbert. Amazing, show-stopping, superb, phenomenal. This is following Eve's story. She is kind of a hot mess. She's kind of going through it. She accidentally ends up getting a job at a bed and breakfast after hitting the owner with her car. And so she kind of has to help him out and run things. And they have a blooming romance. It's hella cute, hella steamy. Okay, you know what I'm saying? Get on it. And finally, I have The Girl with the Stars in Her Eyes by Zio Axelrod. I hope I'm pronouncing their name correctly. This is a romance, but like a rock and roll romance. It says, growing up in dive bars all along the East Coast, Tony Bennett's guitar was her only companion until she met Sebastian Quick. Seb was a little older, a lot wiser, and before long, he was Tony's way out, promising they'd escape their stifling small town together. Then Seb turned 18 and split without looking back. Now, Tony's all grown up and making a name for herself in Philadelphia's indie music scene. When a friend suggests she tries out for a hot new up-and-coming band, Tony decides to take a chance. Strong, feminist, and fierce as fire, Tony B and the Lilies are the perfect match. Except Seb's now moonlighting as their manager. Whatever, Tony can handle it, no problem, or it wouldn't be if Seb didn't still hold a piece of her heart. Not to mention the key to her future. Okay, sometimes the way these descriptions are a little corny, but I'm into it. I love a good rock and roll. I love a good black indie music scene. Okay, so I'm excited for this one. So that's everything. Lots of books. I know. I need to cool it. I really do. But those are the books that I bought thus far in the year of 2021. Are there any on here that you're interested in reading or that you've read already? Let me know down below. I'll catch y'all later.